The big advantage of buying a tiny house on wheels is it doesn't really matter where it is. We could literally buy a tiny house anywhere in North America and take it where we want it to be.
We find places to park through Facebook groups, and connecting with local communities.
This can actually be our forever house because we'll never be bored of the environment that we're in.
Hi, I'm Candace.
And I'm Damian. Come take a tour of our tiny house.
Welcome to the kitchen. Comparing the tiny house kitchen to our kitchen we had in, I suppose, what they would call a regular home. We didn't have a big kitchen, but I think the differences you notice is sort of prep area. But I love the countertop space that I have. But I think it really brings it back to living tiny, which is living with intention. So I think when you have a lot of space, you fill it with a lot of stuff. And we don't have that when you live tiny. So we want to be just, we're always mindful of, are we using things we keep like appliances? Do they fit in the space so that we can, not have an over-cluttered space? I think it also goes to show you how you don't need 20 pots and pans that just sit in a cupboard. We're able to fit all of our pots and pans in the bottom drawer, plates, bowls, everything that we have, we use it. If we're not using it in 3 to 6 months, we either donate or sell it. So I love that it's intentional, that we use everything we have. It's low waste, low reduced carbon footprint. We like it to be aesthetically pleasing and having clutter-free spaces. So we did get quite creative with our storage, and we have a lot of our pantry storage goes into the staircase to keep the countertops nice and clean, and appliances get packed away. So we don't have appliances that need to remain outside of the electric kettle. When we're shopping, I'm very intentional about the week. So we plan like sort of a Monday to Friday, and that way everything that we have, we can store it. Choosing appliances for the kitchen had to be as well very intentional, very specific to the space. Actually, when we purchased the tiny house, it came with a fridge. The fridge was really large. It sort of came out and dug into our living space. So we sold it and we got something a bit smaller that really is just the two of us. So it allowed for better space. The stove as well, that it could fit. We do all of our cooking with propane. Most of what we do, our water heater and things like that, it's all propane. So we use very little electric, which is great. Saves money, and also I feel is a nice reduced waste as well. So I wouldn't say that we are missing out on anything. Our previous kitchen that we had to living tiny to the kitchen that we have now, we're able to prepare meals. I've actually catered a full retreat for 17 people in this tiny kitchen. So it can be done. We really love that we have a washer dryer combo inside the tiny house. I know a lot of people that live in a van full time or that do live tiny, having to go to a laundromat, especially since we have animals. So it's really nice that if I need to put in towels, blankets, things like that, it fits within our lifestyle because we are living full time. And it's a really amazing appliance, if not my favorite one, that we can do all of our laundry at home. So it's really nice just having it on hand, having the washer dryer combo as part of the kitchen. We really love our tiny kitchen. I love that we got to design it ourselves. I love the clean white finish, right down to the handles on the drawers. We did the design completely from scratch. We worked with an amazing builders. So I love how it feels. Often after I've put everything away, even after 6 years, I still look at Damian and just say, I love the space, I love the kitchen, living quality over quantity.
Welcome to our living room. This is where we spend a lot of our time when we're indoors, because myself and Candace do spend quite a lot of time watching TV in the evenings and stuff and spending time together. I really wanted a couch that was wide enough that we could both lie together lengthways and watch TV. We had this couch custom made for it. And then, we have a ton of storage underneath. From the hinge in the middle there, our couch literally swings this way and it can form into a full queen size bed. So when we have guests over, that's where they'll be. We have our Anderson windows, which are amazing for sound and temperature insulation. We've got the screens, which are great for everything except no-see-ums, which fly right through it. Yeah, we have our little ambience, which my wife has mainly been responsible for. Dream catchers from around the world and our little lights. People often, ask us how this compares to what we had in our, full-size home in South Africa. And actually, I prefer this setup. It was always a struggle to find exactly what I wanted. And, because we got to make this couch custom, it is exactly the way we want it. And, it's compact, but everything we need is here. We're super comfortable. We spend a lot of time. We can sit together with friends. We can, lie and watch TV, have breakfast, whatever. And it's just super flexible and adjustable, caters to our every need. Our house, we actually bought it as a shell. The kind of structure was there, the electrics and some of the plumbing, but that was it. So the nice thing is we got to design the interior exactly the way we wanted. So it really came out exactly the way we like it. Also, we were picking a house from a different continent because we were in South Africa. Looking for it, really what you just wanted was like the door in the correct place, the right layout, and the roof was very important. You want a low pitch roof, either a shed style or a low pitch A-frame like this so that you can have lofts on either end, because a lot of tiny houses like to do a very high arch because it looks aesthetically pleasing, but then you actually lose your loft space, and we definitely wanted that. And we were very fortunate to be working with an amazing builder who was just super trustworthy and followed through with absolutely everything that we wanted.
Welcome to the bathroom. In our previous home, we actually had an ensuite bathroom that just had a shower, and then we had an additional bathroom with a bath. I love a bathtub, and I wasn't going to live tiny without one. So we actually used a reclaimed horse trough that our builder found for us, and it went really well with the aesthetics in the bathroom here. So I don't really feel like I'm missing out. In fact, this tiny bathroom is bigger than the ensuite bathroom I had in my previous house. I love, again, that the space is white, it feels nice and big and clean. We have everything we need, and it, again, just like the kitchen, forces us to really live intentionally, use our products before we replace them. And because we live this way with also grey water, we don't have any chemicals in the house. All the soaps are natural, everything we use, we are very mindful about that as well. We have a Nature's Head composting toilet. It was probably the one thing about living tiny that I wasn't totally sold on in the beginning. I didn't think that I would grow to love it, but I love, again, the reduced carbon footprint that a Nature's Head does for the planet, and it gives us so much flexibility to live anywhere because we don't require septic.
Now we are in our bedroom loft. This was why it was so important to have a low pitch A-frame roof. If it was a higher pitch, the pitch would have probably started almost at this level, so we wouldn't have really had any loft. But yeah, this works perfectly. We have a reclaimed pallet wood at the end there that was donated by Brian from Sasquatch Custom Homes. We have our little bedside tables that we put together. We spend quite a bit of time here reading in the evenings. Sometimes one of us will be downstairs working and the other one can be up here working or reading or having a nap. Candace made beautiful blinds that are blackout that cover our windows. She's also created her own little custom jewelry set up there so she can see all of her earrings and necklaces and everything like that. When you're in a small space, it's also important to have things displayed nicely so that you don't have to dig for them all the time, because no one wants to spend their life digging for things. We have a 6-inch mattress, because space is at a premium here, and it's on a frame which allows it to air and everything. And then across the way we have our storage loft. Yeah, we have our drawers each. Candace has really put it all together. We have plenty of hanging space. It's actually really done well because everything is very easy to spot and see. Even the way that she has all of our clothing, you can pull open the drawer and you can see every t-shirt without having to dig into it. So it's all just meticulously organized. Yeah, also the beautiful reclaimed pallet wood on that side. We usually have our little dehumidifier just running there, just making sure everything's nice and dry. But yeah, just very open and easy to find, and plenty of space for all of the clothes that we need. Quite the process trying to buy and then build a tiny house from a different continent. The big advantage of buying a tiny house on wheels is it doesn't really matter where it is. We could literally buy a tiny house anywhere in North America and take it where we want it to be. That really opens up the options, and it allows you to find something that really is perfect for you. The shell had actually been built by a family originally from Wisconsin, where they started the build. You know, I came across it, they were offering it for a great deal. It had excellent insulation, windows, had some really nice appliances. We really loved the layout. That all looked perfect, but it's homemade by some guy who's probably not an engineer. So the first step was getting someone to certify it, make sure that it's all good. So I was able to Google a bunch of builders in the area, and one of them really stood out. Brian from Sasquatch Tiny House Trailers. He was such a great guy. He went, he checked it. The axles did need to be replaced. They weren't quite heavy enough, but everything else was sound. And he was happy to work with us, you know, designing it as we go. And yeah, we paid him in installments, you know, one amount at a time. And, you know, he sent us regular reports. It was just, we couldn't have got a better builder, and it really took a lot of stress off. So we were able to purchase it from the sellers. He picked it up, you know, he had a truck that could move it, took it to his property, and, you know, over the next year and a half, he built it out, you know, according to what we needed. And he was just amazing. And then right at the end, when it was nearly completed, I actually flew out to Houston. Him and his family were wonderful. They actually put me up in their home, and I worked with them on it for the last month and a half, getting all ready, getting all of our appliances and pots and pans and inventory and all of that. And it's just worked out perfectly, and, you know, we've been very happy here. And yeah, lots of amazing, exciting things on the horizon, and just loving life and loving the freedom and flexibility that having a house that moves gives you. And there's really no limit to where we can go and what we can do. And it's just been the greatest blessing.
A great resource is social media, joining community Facebook groups. So for example, the property where we are currently, by the time we leave, we would have spent 7 months here. We just created a Facebook post with pictures of the house, some information about us, the fact that we have 2 small dogs, some fun just pictures about who we are, and we'll create the post mentioning the hookups that we need, and people reach out to us, especially people with bigger properties, bigger pieces of land. And it's also nice for them to know what the house looks like, you know, that it's newly built, it's in really good condition, we take care of it, it's not an eyesore. And then we'll put that across a few Facebook groups or platforms via social media, and just have some video calls like this and see if it's a good fit. So that's a really good place to find if you're wanting to live on private land. And then in terms of RV parks, it depends seasonally if you've allocated enough time. Very often you've got to get about 6 months in advance to get into some of these parks if you're going to destinations that are super popular based on the weather, like Florida.
During their peak time.
Right. So if you kind of decide, I want to go, let's say it's August and you're wanting to go in November, you might not get a spot in an RV park. So RV parks are nice and they're easy, and when we're traveling on the road for 2 or 3 weeks, we'll use them. But for longer term, private land is exactly that. You get more privacy, you can create a nice relationship, and often use it as a repeat spot if you move seasonally like we do. So it's just putting yourself out there. It can feel a little vulnerable, but when you realize, you know, you actually want to be part of community, and it is such an amazing lifestyle and movement, you'll be surprised how many people want to help support that.
Good example is we were in North Carolina recently. We were planning on coming back to Florida, and they had that big storm there, and it kind of changed things around. And then suddenly we were kind of struggling. We couldn't get in any campsites, and it was looking like, you know, it's going to be a bit of a battle. And we ended up putting a poster on a Facebook site. And within a few days, we had probably about 10 different people message us, you know, and we were able to kind of pick and choose, you know, in terms of proximity and just the connection with the people, and it worked out great.
The rental, I find, is dependent on proximity. If you get a really good location, when we say good location, close to work, close to the shops, close to restaurants and things that you may want for that season, the average is about $600 a month. If you're further out, some people will pay $425, $500. It depends on proximity to everything. But on average, it's around $600 a month, where RV parks have gone pretty expensive now. What they often do is for your first 3 months, you might pay $700, $800, $900 for 3 months. And then if you become a long-term tenant in an RV park, they'll take your rent down a little bit, on a year contract, for example. I think it's also helpful if people want to make a strong case, like they're putting themselves out there, is also just to confirm what they do, that they do have income and that they can actually afford the rental of the lot or the rental of the private land. If you're giving people peace of mind, like, hey, this is actually what we do, they're not having to have that uncomfortable conversation like, so, you live tiny and you're nomadic, do you have income type of thing?
Yeah.
So I think letting people know what you're about and being kind of open book about that. This is who we are. This is what we do. This is also how old we are. So we're not going to be throwing parties, being disruptive. We want to be part of a community. Those kinds of things gives people peace of mind. And they're often a little bit more open to hearing you out and giving you the option to come and stay.
Absolutely.
What I've learned most about living tiny is, for me and my personal journey, is living with intention. Every item that we purchase or that you're choosing to bring into your life, really you have to think about it, because where do you put it? So I actually really love that. I love that it's brought me to living with more intention, and I love the freedom. If we decide we want to move for whatever reason, for a new experience, or if it's too hot, too cold, whatever that might be, I love the freedom and I love living with intention.
The fact that you have a house with wheels means you can take it anywhere. Our house has been a mountain house, a lake house, a beach house, a desert house,
a forest
a forest house. You can take it for short trips, you can take it for long trips. This can actually be our forever house, because we'll never be bored of the environment that we're in. Thank you guys for checking out our tiny house.
If you'd like to follow more of our journey and what we're up to, and maybe join us for some travel retreats, you can find us on Instagram at D_C Adventures 365 or yoga_health_Candace.
Ciao, bye.